going to be. I think everybody should stop saying the phrase objectively bad when reviewing a movie or an album or a video game or, whatever. It's become a huge common phrase that people use to justify their opinion as like, there's no way you can argue about that because it's objective, that it's objectively bad. Now listen, I'm not crazy. There are things that are objective, but objectively bad? Like, no, that's not how it works. That just doesn't make sense. There is no such thing as objectively good and objectively bad. Something is good in your opinion, or it's bad in your opinion. People find things good and bad based on their preferences, what they prefer to see, what they like, what they don't like. That's not objective. This is especially common in movie reviews. People who are really smart and give really great movie reviews, they'll still say this phrase, that writing or that acting or whatever, it's objectively bad, or this script is objectively bad. They say all this brilliant stuff, and then they say these stupid phrases like, that makes them smart, and it doesn't. You can say that something is objectively stupid. I guess that's fair to do. I guess. But a movie is allowed to be stupid if it wants to be. If the people who make the movie want it to be stupid, then they're completely entitled to do that. Art is not objectively bad or objectively good. Art can be whatever it wants to be. And this comes with anything, really. Music and movies as well. Like, a movie does not have to have a main character. A movie does not have to have things that all completely make sense. A movie does not have to have a main villain. It can, and those things you could argue can make the film better, but it doesn't have to have those things just because they're your preference. If the creator or the creators of a movie want it to be stupid, then that's up to them to decide that. And that's okay, because that's what art is all about. There is no perfect blueprint to making a great film. Human nature has preferences, and people love things and people hate things. There is no perfect blueprint for that. For some reason, people view creating a movie as like building a building or a computer. Like, it has to be just so, otherwise the building will fall or whatever. That makes sense in architecture, it makes sense in building shit, but creating a movie is not like creating a building. When it comes to building construction, there are things that are objectively wrong. If you put the pipes in the wrong spot, the building will collapse. But this is art. This is not those things. So art is allowed to be whatever it wants to be, whatever the creator wants it to be. It does not have to have a formula that it follows that other people have already done before. Assigning rules and formulas to film and television is overrated, and they do work well, but there are things that are entertaining that are incredibly stupid that don't make sense, and they're still entertaining. So why are these things allowed to be stupid and entertaining, but these other things are not allowed to be stupid and entertaining? For some reason, this movie has to make sense, and this other movie is not allowed to make sense. That does not make sense. People who are creating art, whatever they create, it's allowed to be good or bad. It's annoying when it's bad, but there is no objective bad or good. Not when it comes to art. When it comes to other things, yes, but definitely not art. For example, Citizen Kane. I think it's an overrated film, but one of the things I do love about what Orson Welles did, and I love Orson Welles, by the way, he created a movie that defied all the rules of filmmaking. He went against the rules of filmmaking. He did a lot of things that you weren't supposed to do, and stuff that people thought was objectively bad for the time period when it came to making movies, and people loved that movie. People think it's a masterpiece. And I don't think the film itself is a masterpiece in terms of being entertaining, but in terms of concept, it is a masterpiece because he challenged filmmaking and he decided, I'm just going to do what I want because I like it, and it does not have to follow the same formula that others have done before, because Orson Welles was a genius and he knew that there was no such thing as objectively good and objectively bad. He defined what an artist is. An artist is someone who creates something because they're passionate about it and they made it the way they made it. And everyone's entitled to their opinion, but nothing is objectively bad or objectively good. I mean, you hear people saying that phrase all the time, especially on the internet. When they do movie reviews, video game reviews, it got big in the 2010s, and then it got like massive in the late 2010s and the 2020s. And it's just ridiculous. People are like, this writing is objectively bad, this plot is objectively bad, or this acting is objectively bad. Art can't be objective. You can say that something objectively doesn't make sense. That's fair, but you can't say it's objectively bad. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad, just because it objectively doesn't make sense in a movie or a cartoon or whatever. People who are critics act like there's this exact perfect formula for making good entertainment, that there's this proven system that has worked time and time again that makes a film great, and they act like everyone who loves that knows what great films are, and people that don't understand it, they're all stupid. And they all pick films that are objectively bad. But this is not always the case. There's a lot of films that have gotten Oscars and a lot of awards and being called movie of the year throughout time. And people look back on a lot of these movies and they're really overrated. Every time this happens, the film isn't always a great movie when people talk about how the writing is objectively good or the storytelling is objectively good. So therefore the movie is definitely good, and you're an idiot if you don't understand that. And that's kind of fair to say, but it also just doesn't make sense. The people who are writing and creating a movie, they're allowed to make the movie stupid in terms of the writing and in terms of the story. It doesn't have to make sense if they don't want it to make sense. And it doesn't have to make sense to be good. It can be a smarter movie. It can make more sense. But something that's a smarter movie isn't necessarily a more entertaining movie. For example, I would argue a film like Good Will Hunting is a smarter movie than, say, something like Space Jam. And I love both movies. But which movie is more entertaining to me is Space Jam, even though it has stuff in it that's stupid and doesn't make sense. But art is about entertainment. It's about passion. It's not about things always making sense. That's not how films work. That's not how art works. People aren't creating films to objectively write and create the best thing they can. They're creating things based on their passion and based on art. Not some perfect golden formula of what makes a good film and what makes a bad film. And that's why a lot of films that are smarter than other films aren't always better than the dumber movies. It's about what's more entertaining to you as a person, not what's smarter as a film or has better writing or whatever. I mean, these critics and these filmmakers, they can create the smartest, most emotional, intellectual, groundbreaking film ever, but they're still not smart enough to understand that there is no such thing as objectively good and objectively bad. Are these people artists, or are they just into architecture, things being perfect? That's not how it works. And if you don't like this video I made, then say that this video itself, just say it's stupid, or it's bad, or it's wrong. But don't say it's objectively wrong, because then you're going to be an idiot. Anyhoozle, this was my little mini rant about this objectively wrong and objectively good shit that's been going on for a very long time. I'm really happy I finally said it. Finally fucking said it. Let me know if you agree or disagree with me. My name is SuperPat98, and please let me know in the comments below. Please like and subscribe, and thank you all for watching. I'll see you all next time.